Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another episode of The Cider Drinker. Well, what else would it be, eh? Now, on today's episode, I'm bringing to you another widely available cider that you can get in pretty much any supermarket across the country. Now, a couple of reviews back, I did the Oldie English cider, which is a byproduct of this particular company. And we've got their titular cider here tonight, which is Gaymers Original. Now, like I say, Oldie English is a byproduct of theirs, and I'm pretty sure that Gaymers owns quite a lot of other well-known cider names. You'll be pretty surprised, to be honest. But today it's all about their titular original cider, so will it mark up with the rest of the industrially made, widely available ciders? We will find out. But until then, I'm just going to go and give you some details on Gaymers Original Cider. Gaymers Original Cider comes in 568ml bottles, but if you prefer it, it also comes in can form, and I do believe you can get it on tap in certain pubs as well. The alcohol percentage is a standard 4.5% volume, and it's a medium tasting cider according to the back of the bottle. Now the price, like most other widely available ciders, it does vary quite a lot, although the average price I've seen it go for is around £2.9. I'm sure you can get it for cheaper, so just do your shopping around. Right, well, the first thing that I've got to say about this bottle is that it actually does look quite appealing, at least for me anyway, mainly because I am a fan of the colour red. It's actually my favourite colour. But no, I think they've actually done a really good job at trying to entice you into buying this bottle, especially with the old gold labelling mixing with the red. And to be honest, it complements the green bottle really well. I feel if they used a clear or a brown bottle it wouldn't really go as well, but that's just me anyway. So let's take a look at the front. Cold filtered for a crisp, refreshing taste. Well, that doesn't really tell me much about the cider. Serve over ice. Again, doesn't really tell me much about the cider. Estered in 1770, so Gaymers has been around for quite a long while, and they've got the little crown on the top there, so obviously they think quite highly of themselves. So excuse me, coughing. So let's just have a look at the back of the bottle. Made from English apples, this cider has a particularly crisp, refreshing, smooth taste. And that is literally all it says on the back of it. The thing that actually stands out about this is it says it's made from English apples, not made with. Now that's something different. Because it's made from English apples, you're obviously not getting all these crappy additives they've got added in there. So admittedly, it probably still is an industrially made cider, but maybe not as much as some of the other ones. And obviously it contains sulfites to preserve freshness, yada yada, you've heard it before. And the other good thing is, it's one of the very few widely available ciders that comes in a 568ml bottle. So I'm actually getting a full pint in a bottle here, rather than just the standard 500ml you get with all the other well-known ciders, like, you know, Magners, Bulmers, all that sort. So, without any further ado, it's all about tasting, so let me just go and get this cap open. I've noticed I've been doing it on the table and the camera's been wobbling, so I'm going to do it over here, so as not to do that anymore. I do like the Gaymers cap as well. I don't know whether you can see that, but you know, I do like the Gaymers cap. It's just got a light. Well, I don't know, I just like the name, so let's give it a whiff. Not a very good smell coming off of this. There's not really a whole lot of sweetness, but I don't know, there's almost sort of a tartness coming about it. A fairly musty aroma too. It's overall not really appealing, let's just say. So first impressions are it's just like a standard industrially made cider, so let's go and pour it in the glass and see what it looks like. Now obviously, because it is a widely available cider, I'm not expecting miracles or anything, but will it taste any better than some of the other ones? We shall find out. It's got to taste better than some of the cheap ones that I've had, surely. I'm just going to leave a little in the bottle there. So, there we are. Obviously the light's different from your angle, but from here it's a kind of a dark coloured cider. Pretty standard actually. Quite a lot of carbonation as well, as is to be expected from these sorts of ciders. Fairly hefty bubbles too, but the size of the bubbles doesn't really do much at all. But yeah, a hell of a lot of carbonation, so belches aplenty, I reckon. So let's go and get a whiff in the glass. Yeah, again, you're getting that musty sort of aroma coming off of it. That's not really appealing to the smell. You know, really appealing to your nose. It's got not even a slight bit of sweetness. I mean, it's a medium cider, so, you know, it's supposed to be middle of the road, but I can't smell any sweetness at all. Which I suppose is a kind of a good thing, because at least it doesn't smell artificial, so... But yeah, smell isn't really good, so we all know it's all in the taste, so I'm just going to go and dive into a nice old glass of Gaymers cider. Cheers guys, bottoms up. Yeah, it's alright. It's nothing mind-blowing, I'll say that. Kind of average tasting, really. Alright, it's you instantly get hit with sugar. You get hit with like artificial sugary sort of taste. So they have obviously added you know, sugars or sweetness to it, but it doesn't linger in your throat like it does with other ciders that have added sweetness to it. So it does actually dissipate quite a lot. Then afterwards you do get a slight dryness on the end of it. The aftertaste is, yeah, it's pretty dry. It's got a sort of a, almost sort of a caramelly sort of aftertaste, which is kind of a nice touch. I'll get a second opinion. It definitely does taste refreshing. It's definitely leaving my throat feeling really, I don't know, quenched. You know, thirst quenching, I'd guess you could call this cider. I'm not really getting the crispness though. I would say it's more of a smooth tasting cider rather than a crisp one. Slightly full bodied too, but apart from that, it's pretty average. You know, it's not as bad as some of the other industrially made ciders that I've had. Might as well just top it up here, because at least I'm getting a full pint, so I might as well have all of it. But yeah, this is pretty average tasting. It's nothing amazingly special, at least not what I can taste anyway. Yeah, it hasn't really got that much of a apple sort of taste to it either. It's not really like you're tasting like proper real cider. In fact, I can't really taste any apples at all in this. I mean, it says made from English apples, so I'm assuming that, you know, they have mainly used apples in this, but there isn't really that much of a taste to it. It's all mainly like sweeteners. Yeah, just the sweetness that they've added at the start of it. And altogether it's just wholly, yeah, like I say, just a middle of the road sort of cider. But no, I'll get another taste just to be sure. I think the problem with this cider is that the taste doesn't stay long at all. And this seems to be the ploy that they use for most of these industrially made ciders. The taste just goes so quickly that you have to take another sip just to enjoy the flavour. And I think that's where they're going wrong, because you want to enjoy a cider and spend your time over it. But with ciders like this, the taste just goes almost immediately. Like now, I've got absolutely no taste in my mouth at all. It's almost as if I've not actually taken a sip of this cider, so I've got to go for another sip just to, you know, find out what the flavour is. I guess underneath it all there is a very slight hint of like dry apples to it. It's like almost like a, you know, there's a slight hint of tannins there. But like I say, because the taste just completely dissipates so quickly, you don't really notice it at all. Obviously, this is one of those, you know, these session ciders that you get, obviously, like in town and everything. So, by the time you actually get around to having a bottle or a pint of this, you're so drunk and out of it that you don't really know what it tastes of anyway. But, to be honest, at least it's not terribly tasting. It's one that I'll quite happily finish tonight, but, I definitely have had better tasting ciders for sure. Now, I will admit, for £2.9, it's slightly cheaper than some of the other big name ciders out there, and the fact that you're getting a full pint for it as well actually kind of justifies it for this price. For you know, just for a cider you want to enjoy on just a quiet night in or something, then this isn't a bad old cider to go by, actually, because, you know, a full old pint. Admittedly, it's not the best tasting cider out there, but at least you're not getting a terrible tasting one too. And I'd certainly pick this over other big name ciders, definitely. I think I'm going to get a final taste before the final verdict, because I've pretty much said all I need to say. Oh, here comes the belch. Excuse me. I knew that was going to happen because of the carbonation. So yeah, overall, this is a highly carbonated cider that's slightly full-bodied with a nice dry finish that dissipates all too quickly. Like I say, you do taste the sweetness or sugars that they've added in at the start of it, but because it says it's made from English apples, I'm assuming it's used more with just pure apple juice than it is with, you know, additives and stuff. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they have actually added, you know, additives and stuff to it, even though that they say that they've made it from English apples. We all know what these cider companies are like, don't we? So, as for a final verdict, Gaymers Original Cider gets a 6 out of 10 from me. At least it does have some sort of flavour to it, and it's not a bad tasting one. For £2.9 for a pint though, that's pretty decent actually. If you go out in town you can spend well upwards of £3 for a pint, so that's actually bloody good value for a bottle of cider. So, like I say, if you're going to have a quiet night in, then I'd highly suggest Gaymers Original Cider over all these other big named industrial ciders you can get. But if you're one of these connoisseurs of cider drinking who like a better tasting one, then it's probably best to look elsewhere. So, that was another episode of The Cider Drinker for you guys. Hope you liked it, and I will be back some other time, as you know, with another delicious and hopefully tasty cider as well. Until then, even though it's not the most miraculous cider I've ever had, I'm definitely going to go sit back and enjoy a nice pint of Gaymers Original Cider. Take care guys, until next time.